Are you ready to buy a house in 2023? Well, you've come to the right video. We're going to talk about everything that you need to know to be successful with your home purchase, whether you're a first-time home buyer or you're a seasoned investor. My name is seanu Uyehara. I'm a branch manager with Geneva Financial. We've recently moved to a new mortgage company, and I'm super excited to share the journey with you and help you win in the real estate world. If you have any questions, my team and I are here for you. You can always email me at my new email and hit the description below for links to more information on how to get your mortgage right. Now, the first thing what you want to do before you get out there and start looking at any houses is get pre-approved. Many of you that have been watching my channel have taken my advice, and you guys have this ingrained in your brain at this point, which I'm so proud when I talk to you guys and you're ready to get pre-approved. This will answer all of your tough questions and relieve all the anxiety and the fear that you have going into buying a house. And I can tell you, as an investor myself, even when I bought my first investment property, and I've been in this business for over 15 years, I was still nervous. I would ask myself, is this the right house that I'm buying? Did I overlook something? Did I miss a number in calculating my return? What am I potentially missing? And could this deal go sideways? So as a first-time home buyer, you will feel that way. It is totally natural. However, once you get pre-approved and you start to see what it takes to qualify to buy a house and how all the numbers break down at the end of the day, you will feel a lot more comfortable moving forward. This is why the pre-approval, in my opinion, is so critical, because it's going to answer 80 to 90% of all of those tough questions that you probably have running around in your head right now, or you're scrolling through Instagram, TikTok, trying to learn, trying to get info, and then it just becomes too much info for you and you don't even know what to do. So getting pre-approved, here's some things that you can have ready before you go and talk to your lender. Make sure you have 1 month of pay stubs. Make sure you have 2 years of your W-2 forms or 1099 income statements, and 2 years of federal tax returns, your 1040s. We don't need your state returns, just the federal version. And make sure that you have at least 2 months of bank statements. That is the bare minimum that any loan officer should be asking you to complete a pre-approval. Once they have that information, it usually takes any good loan officer about 24 hours to 48 hours to do an analysis and put together 2 to 4 options for you to move forward with your home purchase. Now, if they take longer than that, I'd ask why, and I would challenge that myself, being someone in the business, because more often than not, you can finish a pre-approval within a day or two. If it takes any longer than that, there's probably something potentially wrong with your file, or there's probably something that may prohibit you from being able to buy. So either that loan officer is doing more research, or maybe they just don't know what they're doing. But anything longer than 2 days, you should start pressing them for an answer. Now, as you move forward, now that you're qualified, the next thing that you really want to focus on is dialing in where you want to live, as far as the city, neighborhoods, the type of house. Do you need a pool in the backyard, single story, 2-story? The wish list and the want list that you need in your house, have that ready to go, because that's what your realtor is going to be asking you for. They need to know that information to help reduce the number of homes that they're sending you, because if not, you'll just be overwhelmed and you'll be all over the place looking at homes. And then that can also become very frustrating, in my opinion. Searching for the house, to me, that's the fun part of buying a property. Doing all the paperwork with a lender like myself, no one wants to do that. It's literally like going to the doctor to get a checkup. No one wants to go, but it's something you have to do. Shopping around for a house, that's fun. Your kids get to pick out their bedrooms. You walk into the house, you're in the kitchen, you're envisioning having people over during the holidays. You fall in love with the house. It's an emotional process. Working with a lender is all about numbers at the end of the day. But enjoy it most of all. Don't let this stress you out. If this process becomes stressful, talk to your real estate agent, talk to your loan officer, because we've done this for a number of years. We know what you're feeling. But sometimes you just have to talk about it and get those emotions out. And then that way you can keep moving forward and don't get discouraged and think that this isn't the right time to buy. And then you put it on the back burner and it's something that maybe you just never end up getting to. I've heard a number of those stories in my career that people have tried to buy over and over and over again, but they always seem to quit. So don't let this be an opportunity that passes you by to help you build wealth. That's one of the main reasons why we buy real estate. You want to be able to leave something to your kids or to your family. Or maybe you want to be the first one in your family to just totally break the mold and be that first person to become a homeowner. There's so many reasons why we buy houses and buy real estate. Whatever that reason that's motivating you to watch this video and to think about buying, make sure that you follow through on that and have the right team by your side to help you cross the finish line. And if you don't know where to start, there's actually a guidebook that I have here in my description below. So make sure you check it out, download it, it's free. Use that as a resource to help you get into your first home. Now, once you start making an offer on the house that you like, this is a great time to be in the market in 2023 because sellers are willing to negotiate. The last couple of years, forget it. They weren't willing to talk to you. They weren't willing to hear from you because they had 20 offers on the house within a day. All they cared about was who was going to pay me the most amount of money and close the fastest. Those are the two biggest things that sellers cared about. Now that their homes are sitting on the market for extended periods of time, they have to be more creative on how they sell their home. They have to be willing to offer credits because if they get no activity on their house, they're all going to resort to one thing, which is lowering their price. So the longer the home sits on the market, you as a buyer have the opportunity to come in and offer an even lower price on the house. But this is one strategy I want you to think about. And if your loan officer can't explain this to you, feel free to reach out to myself and my team and we can show this to you how this benefits you in the long run. So the problem a lot of you will make is that when you see a house sitting on the market for a longer period of time, you instantly want to offer an extreme lowball offer on that property. And if you're working with a realtor that doesn't do a ton of business, they're going to agree to it and they're going to write the offer. The seller may take it, or the seller could tell you to kick rocks and we're not even dealing with you. But what I want you to do is instead of offering such a low ball offer on the house, give them the price that they want, but ask for the credits that you need to make the deal work. And what I mean by that is you can get seller credits to help cover your closing costs. You can get seller credits to help cover your interest rate buy down. So in most cases, depending on the loan type, you can get anywhere from 3, maybe even up to 6%. Sometimes you can even get up to 9% towards your closing costs. This is where you have to check with your loan officer to make sure you understand what the maximum amount is that you can ask for. For example, let's say you're buying a $400,000 house and you can get a 6% credit towards your closing costs. That's $24,000 that the seller would be willing to potentially give you that can cover all of your closing costs and buy your interest rate down. So for all of you that are trying to time the market and get the lowest rate possible, that's how you get the lowest rate possible. Get the seller to cover that cost for you. And now you can even maybe have a hybrid of the two. Maybe you come down a little bit on price, but then you get all the credits that you need. So that way you minimize your out-of-pocket expense to get into the house. And the reason why you want to do that is because we all know in the future you are going to refinance. So if you're putting a ton of money into the house, when it comes time to refinance, remember, refinances are not free. You still have to pay for closing costs to do the refi, which most lenders, all they do is roll those costs into your mortgage. So your loan balance is most likely going to increase when you do a refinance. So save the money. Use that money to either invest or have it readily available. So in case you need to do a principal pay down or anything like that, you have those funds available. But putting a ton of money into a house right now where the potential market could pull back maybe another 10% or so, I don't think that's necessarily the best idea. What I would rather see you do is negotiate that up front. So again, if you think the market's going to pull back another 10%, negotiate that up front with the seller. So that way you can already get tomorrow's price today. And if you don't know where to find a good real estate agent, ask your loan officer. Every good loan officer out there works with amazing real estate partners. I work with some of the best people here in town, and I know that they all go to bat for our clients and they can negotiate amazing deals for them. Now that your offer is accepted, one thing you never want to do is skip your home inspection. I made that mistake when I bought my first house because the broker I worked with told me, he's like, don't even worry about it. The house is good. Stupid decision. Don't do that. The home inspection, depending on the size of your house, costs a few $100. Spend the money. Make sure that everything is good to go with the house. The home inspector is literally going to go through every nook and cranny in the house. They're going to look at the roof. They're going to look at your pool. They're going to look at the pipes. They're going to look at everything. They usually come back with an extensive report, 80 to 100 pages long, that will tell you everything that they looked at. That report will honestly make you feel like you don't want to buy a house anymore because they're pointing out everything that's wrong with it. Now, some of the things can be cosmetic. Some of the things can be easily fixed by a handyman. So make sure that you take that into account when you look at the report, because if there's 30 things on the list, but 25 of them are superficial or cosmetic things, that doesn't mean you back out of the deal or you cancel it, because you can still go back to the seller and you can negotiate these items. You can have them fix it. You can ask for another credit, or maybe you just say, you know what, I'm still getting an amazing deal on the house. I'll just hire a handyman for a few $100, $1,000. Maybe they'll come in and they'll fix it for me. So you have to think outside the box sometimes. This is where, again, your real estate agent will be able to guide you and give you the right advice to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Now, this is something that hasn't come up in a really long time. This is an issue with an appraisal. So when the market was pulling back a few years ago, we had a lot of appraisals that were all over the place. And what I mean by that is they weren't appraising for what my clients were willing to pay for the house. So that then led us back to the negotiating table where we had to try to get the seller to come down on price. And more often than not, they didn't want to do that. So they relisted the house and then the buyer had to go try to find another home. So again, this is in your favor in this market, because an appraiser will go out and they will do an evaluation of the home and they will give us, as a lender, their opinion of what the value is. We as a lender do not get to communicate with the appraiser, neither do both real estate agents. So they give us a true value of what they think the home is worth. If the home appraises for less than what you're in contract for, you have several options. You can negotiate the price down with the seller. Maybe you guys split the difference, or maybe you pay the difference because you're so confident in the value of the home. Or you cancel the entire contract and you start to go look for another house. So this is another fail-safe throughout the process that protects you as a buyer. It's great in this market because if we think that values are pulling back, or maybe that home is overpriced, that appraiser will tell us what the value is. And then you can decide for yourself, hey, do I still see value in this house? Or you know what? I agree with the appraiser. The home's overpriced. Seller needs to come down. And if not, I'll walk away and I'll find another deal. So use that to your advantage to be able to negotiate a good deal going forward. Now, the typical closing on a house takes about 30 days. So this is also something I see a lot of first-time home buyers make the mistake on, is waiting to the last minute to try to go find a house to move. I would say if you've got at least 6 months left in your lease, you should probably start the process now, because your pre-approval is typically good for 90 days. So you do have some time to shop. You don't necessarily have to feel rushed or pressured to go find a place. I just had a client call me yesterday and she said she's got 3 weeks to move out of her place and she wants to try to find a house. I told her, you need to be in contract tomorrow or else this ain't happening and you're renewing your lease for another year. And she was shocked by that. So don't let poor preparation be another reason why you continue to throw money away renting. Get ahead of the game. If you're 3 to 6 months out, you should be pre-approved and you should start shopping for your home. Because once you're in contract on a house, any lender is going to take about 30 days to close on your home. Can we move faster? Absolutely. If a lender were to rush your file, they could probably do it in a couple of weeks. Anything faster than that, it's going to be really, really tight. And you honestly need everybody on the same page. And I mean the title company, the seller, you, the lender, the appraiser. It's literally like coordinating and organizing a circus. So everybody is literally walking to the same beat. And it's extremely tough to do, but it is possible. But unless you want a stressful experience, I would plan ahead as best as possible so that way you are not feeling rushed into this entire process. Because I can tell you that those deals that I've closed in 10 days, 12 days, it's stressful. And the clients have to respond immediately. It's a timing thing. Get ahead of the game, get pre-approved. That way you can iron out all the details and that you, again, can enjoy the process of buying your house. Now, once you close on your property, here's the thing you have to be aware of. Most mortgage companies out there that you work with are going to sell your loan to a servicing company. For example, I did a loan with a certain mortgage company. I probably made about 3 or 4 mortgage payments to them, and then they sold my loan to Mr. Cooper. There was another loan that they sold over to Chase Bank. So your loan will most likely go to a different company that you are then making payments to. Your loan terms do not change, meaning your interest rate won't change. Your principal and interest payment shouldn't change. However, there are times your payment will change due to your property taxes or your homeowner's insurance. So sometimes what will happen is when your loan gets sold to another company, they may require a different amount of reserves that are put into your escrow account. So your escrow account is comprised of your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. There's a lot of times when your home gets reassessed, the value may go up and maybe your property taxes may go up as well. So when you have a deficit, and every mortgage company out there does an annual analysis of your escrow account. If there's any shortages, they will then charge you the difference, so your payment will go up. But once you get it back in line, things can get readjusted and you'll go back to normal. Or on the flip side, there may be a surplus in your account. And if there is, they'll actually send you a refund check. So don't freak out on that. You can always go back to your original loan officer who you dealt with that did your loan, and you can ask them more questions. Or you can simply call the servicing company and you'd want to ask for the escrow analysis department so that way you can get to the bottom of the problem. Here's something else you have to pay attention to if you're buying a new build. The new build property, the way they look at their property taxes are based on typically the land that the builder bought. So when you go in, your payment's going to actually be a lot lower. But once the property gets assessed based on the new value, your property taxes are going to go up. And a lot of times you get caught off guard. And this is why working with someone that's going to explain this to you is super important. There's a lot of times I've had realtors call me because they don't know what's going on, and let alone the client doesn't know what's going on. So make sure that you understand that when you're buying a new house, your property taxes are probably going to go up. Have that conversation with your loan officer so that way you're not caught off guard. You're not freaking out wondering why my payment went up $200 a month. The buying process is very simple. Do not let social media, do not let anybody tell you otherwise. If they had a bad experience, there's probably a really good reason why that happened. But I can tell you, after closing thousands of loans, buying a home is very simple. The process can be simplified. Make sure first and foremost you get pre-approved. You do that, you should set yourself up for success. Make sure to have a good team by your side. And if you don't know how to put that team together, that's what I'm here for. I got your back. You can send me an email. We can get you pre-approved. And I can also connect you with one of our top realtors across the country and make 2023 a year that you buy your first house. Share this video with a friend that needs some inspiration. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.